Well, it's Sunday evening. Nightfall is starting to encroach here in Kilbride. It's a little community in the north end of Halton. Actually, just a few dozen homes here in a school in this little hall. But we had, I don't know, 40, 50 people show up at the little town hall meeting here, and it was very spirited. We just finished a couple of minutes ago and heard a lot of opinion today, and it's been very consistent with what I heard actually in Burlington yesterday, more of an urban area, suburban area, and obviously a larger crowd. But we talked about the same sorts of issues, and that is, how can I represent the people in this riding now that I've been ousted from the Conservative caucus? And what are my options? Do I go and stay independent? Do I go green? Do I try and talk to Liberals? Do I resign my seat? Do I try and get back into caucus somehow? These are the issues that everyone wanted to talk about because, these people feel that, they lost their MP, the same as I lost my position in caucus. So they're impacted as much as I am. And they're the voters. And as I've said before, they're the people I work for. So I had to come back here and find out exactly what they want me to do. Now, we did take a vote at the end of the meeting, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. But right now, I'd like you to listen to a little bit of the tape that we shot a few minutes ago here in the meeting and the tenor of a very interesting conversation. Good afternoon, and thank you all very much for taking your Sunday afternoon to be here in Kilbride with me. I truly appreciate you doing so. Thank you so much. The point of our meeting today, which is previously scheduled, and when this meeting was set up a few months ago, it was intended just to be one of my regular sort of town hall meetings as the Member of Parliament to make myself available and explain anything the government was doing that you might have questions about, and also, of course, to listen to your opinions so that I could do my job, which is to represent people in our riding to Ottawa. So I try to have these meetings as regularly as I can. And I think since being elected in January, this will be meeting number 14, I think, around the riding. So it's something in general that's very important to me to carry on the dialogue. However, since this meeting was scheduled, events have overcome us. So it is appropriate here today that we talk about the events of the past week. Which I know is why most of you are here. When I walked into caucus on Wednesday morning, it passed. I had no idea it would not be just another regular Wednesday, but that became apparent fairly quickly. So there was a bit of a concerted effort to suspend me from caucus. There was a debate that took place in Ontario caucus, which happened at 8 o'clock on Wednesday morning, which is a meeting of all the Ontario Conservative MPs, followed by a national meeting. And in the Ontario caucus meeting, a quick motion came forward from one member to suspend me, and I was quite shocked. And at that time, I thought it was a fairly spontaneous sort of thing. But it became apparent in a few minutes that it was rather organized. Some MPs spoke against me. Some MPs spoke for me. Some MPs said, "What the heck are we doing? Why are we even debating this?" There was a quick vote, and I lost it. That was sort of how this process rolled out on Wednesday. So, by the end of, within a few hours of that, national caucus took place, and I saw what was going on. That, there were elements of the Prime Minister's office that were sort of moving this along, and so what actually happened a couple hours later was I was watching myself being suspended on television. And to date, I haven't really talked to anybody. The Prime Minister hasn't called me, etc. So there's a little bit of a gray area here as to sort of my actual standing. However, I am right now operating on the assumption that I am an independent Member of Parliament at the moment. That is my assumption. The questions really are, what next? Right? That's really what we need to talk about. I am your Member of Parliament. That doesn't change. I will be your Member of Parliament until the next election. So you're stuck with me. So now we have to figure out the best way of going forward. As I said, I'm an independent member of Parliament. That may be a good position for me to be in. I don't know. We should talk about that. Traditionally, can one person make a difference as an independent in Parliament? The traditional answer has been no. But these are not traditional times anymore. We have a minority government. We have the internet. We have the digital revolution going on where somebody can use the new technologies to actually influence a lot of people. Maybe I can do quite a bit as an independent member of Parliament. One other thing, as a member of the Conservative caucus, I could not introduce a private member's bill. For example, I want to see families with the ability to share income between husband and wife, to even things out. To me, that's very important. I can't move that issue forward as a member of the Conservative caucus. All I can do is try and talk the Minister of Finance into it. As an independent member of Parliament, I can table a bill that I write in the House of Commons that ultimately everybody's going to have to vote on. And in a minority Parliament, guess what? If I can talk enough members of Parliament into supporting it, I can actually get that bill passed. So there are some things that I can do as an independent I could not do as a member of the government. The Green Party was very quick off the mark to try and woo me to become the first Green member of Parliament. So that's on the table. I spoke Friday with one of the Liberal leadership candidates. So they're interested in doing something with me. So there are different alternatives out there. Whether any of them make sense or not is what we should talk about. Because as you may know, I truly do believe in bottom-up democracy. I said I work for you, and I truly do. Today is not for me to give a speech. Today is for me to listen to you and to try and get some feedback from you on ideas you might have as to how I best can manage the situation and how I best can do my job.
Just in regard to timing, I'd like to encourage you not to be hasty, whatever you decide. So if we could put a reasonable amount of time before you make any moves away from being an independent. That's my biggest concern.
Okay, do you want to...
opportunistic.
Do you want to tell me why you feel it?
I think first to give people a chance to process and understand. Personally, I don't fit on either side. I'm not with you or the government. I can see fault in both sides. So I haven't really decided where things should go. And reconciliation is obviously the best path when it's unclear. But other parties like Green and Liberal, I would never vote Liberal. As a matter of principle, Green I could consider. But I don't know how I'd vote if election was held today. I don't know if I'd vote for you, for PC, or for Green. Those are the three options. And it's not clear. So I'd encourage you not to be hasty in whatever decision you make. And I think this consultation process is good.
All right, thank you very much.
I was a liberal all my life, and I crossed the floor and I voted for the Conservative Party because I like the platform and for all the corruption that was in the Liberal Party. You know, I got fed up of that. So who am I to judge you if you go to the Green Party when I myself came from the Liberal Party to the Conservative Party? So my question is, Mr. Turner, how can you represent better Halton as an independent or in the Green Party? Because all the issues that you have for Halton are great, and we want them to be heard. How can Halton be heard better? Tell me, please.
How can Halton be heard better? Well, it obviously goes to the heart of what we're talking about, and that's an excellent question. I guess, you know, I've talked a little bit about what I think it's going to mean being an independent member of Parliament, at least for the next period of time. If I were to become, if I were to join the Green Party, as they're urging me, I would be the only Green MP in the House, which I suppose might give me more media attention than I might be as an independent. But it would obviously, you know, be something of note, and I would be part of a registered political party. So as an independent, I'm not even sure we can raise money and give tax receipts to people, whereas if I were a part of the Green Party as a registered party, it becomes a little easier. Also, the Green Party has some resources, so there'd be some more money to do things like traveling and blah, blah, blah. In terms of representing Halton, though, it's a very good question. And I don't know the answer to it. I don't know if I could actually represent you people better as a Green MP or as an independent.
Actually, your party is a party that in the past I have traditionally voted for, but because of who's running the thing, I've been unable to vote for you, whereas I may agree with what you stand for. Ultimately, my vote is for that party, and I'm unable to vote for that party anymore. And so I voted Green as well. And I'd also add that brandlessness is powerlessness to a large extent, so I can't see how being an independent, once the sort of excitement over what's happened over the last few days and weeks has worn off, how that's really going to get anybody anywhere. Whereas they offer you strength and financial whatever branding that you otherwise can't get on your own.
Yeah, I agree with that, and that's certainly traditionally that's been quite true, you know, because you've seen a few odd independent members of Parliament who generally get lost after a while, and I'm quite aware that after all this flurry that I've been through this week and cameras all over the place, that you know, it can trail off fairly rapidly. I'm aware of that.
We all like to think we live at a watershed moment and all that kind of stuff, and then you
Yep.
put yourself 5 years in the future, looking
Yep.
5 years backwards, and how many times do watershed moments really actually happen?
Yep. Thank you for that dose of reality. Thank you. All right. Yes.
I think we also have to think of the future in terms of, for example, the Green Party is not any longer a minority, a small little group. They're polling now 11% in Ontario and BC. They have a phenomenal person that's been elected leader, Elizabeth May, and it's no longer a one-issue party. There are very many, I think, are similar things that you agree with, fiscal responsibility, but social awareness also on issues that affect all of us. And the Green Party also is not a party just caring for certain segments of society, but caring for all Canadians. And I think that's really important.
All right. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Those of us who voted Conservative, we just lost our member of town.
No.
Not
We
at
didn't
all.
lose it.
Not at all. They took it away.
They lost it.
They took it
We
away.
never lost it, they kicked it up.
We lost.
No, you didn't lose.
Any way you look at it, we lost.
Or then you should phone up there and get a hold of that.
Phones invest in Standard Oil and say we lost our member of Parliament.
Well-
It looks like it's going green, doesn't it?
Hopefully.
That's a waste of time.
No. Well, no, that's fine. No, we're interested in your opinion, for sure.
No, we voted Conservatives.
Yep.
We no longer have a number, basically.
Yep.
We need to take those concerns to Mr. Harper's office.
Absolutely.
And
I hope
make the
something
case.
does.
And that's
I think the real issue is, why is there a government in place now that's letting members feel ostracized for having opinions of their constituents?
Did you say dictatorial?
No, but I was close.
Totalitarian.
So, and to follow up on that, now that you're suspended, whatever that means, nobody really seems to know, do you feel within the framework of a minority government that you can build consensus with some of the other parties and some of your other colleagues to push some of the bills that you're interested in putting forward through? Do you think you can be effective in building consensus and getting some of those issues dealt with while we have an opportunity within a minority government?
I've tried to work with everybody, so I don't think it's out of the question that I might be able to build some good alliances with people from different parties on issues. And this is an interesting difference between our system and the American system. You know, in the United States, you have Congress people and you have senators, and they slide between parties all the time. Like, they may be a Republican or a Democrat, but based on a certain issue, you'll see a coalition of people from the two parties. What's good for their region or their district, they'll vote for it. And it doesn't matter necessarily whether it was their party's initiative or not. But also in the American system, remember, you get to vote for the president, you get to vote for the congressperson, member of Congress, you get to vote for your senator. Here, we get one vote. And with that one vote, we have to pick a local guy, a prime minister, a philosophy, a party. How can you do it?
Too much, too soon.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of what makes this discussion a bit difficult. And you're absolutely right, because this goes right to the heart of parliamentary reform. At some point, this system has got to be better. Maybe it's proportional representation. Maybe it's a way that, I don't know.
Personally, I agree entirely with what you say, that there has to be more made in Canada plans. Do you have any specific strategies, or have you reviewed any specific strategies to meet said Bill C-288 plans to meet Kyoto? I know you said Kyoto is outlandish targets, but even for a Made in Canada plan itself, is there anything that Canada can do right now, environmentally, to kind of lead us through? Because we've always seemed to be a leader for the rest of the world and high, as you say, moralistic values.
Absolutely, there are lots of things we can do, and I've written about it. I've written a couple of articles on my blog of exactly the kind of strategies that I believe would be appropriate in Canada. We are the highest per capita consumers of energy in the world. I mean, there's a reason for that. It's a big, cold country. So there's a reason for it. But still, we consume a lot of it, and there are lots of things we can do. But most of our greenhouse gas emissions do come from heavy industry, or they come from automobiles. And so there are ways of dealing with both of those situations. But I truly don't think that putting this off for emission targets of 40 years hence is responsible. And we have to do something sooner. But there's enough scientists around, believe me. There are lots of good policies out there. All right, so well, let's go from the bottom first. So how many people just aren't comfortable registering a vote at this time, or they want more information? Go. How many people would like me to resign? Throw in the towel.
All right.
Thank you. All right. Good. Okay. Kiss and makeup? Three or four? Four?
Five.
What?
There's all in there.
Oh. Okay, green. One hand only, sir. 17?
18.
Liberal. Okay. Stay independent for a while.
Behind me.
18.
19.
That's democracy.
I think we have a minority parliament here.
That's what you get with proportional representation.
Yeah, exactly. All right. All right. Well, listen, so I want to thank you all so much for coming out today. This obviously is not the end of this conversation. I would really encourage anyone going away from here today, if you have any further thoughts, if you just want to send me an email or call Esther in the office or whatever, I'd be absolutely delighted to get more input from you. It means so much to me. I'm not going to rush it. I give you that promise. My BlackBerry is unmelted, yes. So I'm now technologically all ready to go. So I'm happy to talk to any of you and hear from it all. And please, any friends or neighbors or people at work, people you're talking to, if they say, what do you think Garth Turner should do? He cares, okay? I really need to hear from everybody. So please stress that I'd love to get much, much more input. Thank you so much for sharing the afternoon with me. Thank you very much.